Have you ever asked yourself, who am I if I'm not performing, not achieving, not making everyone else happy? Sometimes life has a way of stripping us down to nothing. No titles, no achievements, no relationships to hide behind. Just us face to face with who we really are. That's the space my friend Alissa Boyhtari, who now leads and creates beauty at Superior Blooms, found herself in. But before flowers and leadership, her story was marked by years of people-pleasing, chasing perfection in school and sports, and walking through the pain of an abusive relationship. She hit a breaking point, but instead of staying there, she began to rebuild, this time with her identity rooted in Christ. Today, we're unpacking that journey together. It's raw, it's honest, and I think you'll hear pieces of your own story along the way. Hey friend, I'm Jessica, and this is With My Whole Heart. I'm a real-life woman juggling a lot of real-life things, raising girls, running a hair salon, chasing big dreams, and doing my best to stay grounded through it all. If you've ever found yourself in the thick of it, somewhere between who you've been and who you're becoming, this space is for you. Here, we talk about the middle, the messy, meaningful, beautiful middle. The big leaps, the small wins, the hard lessons, and the heart-led pivots. From business and beauty to faith, motherhood, and everything in between, nothing's off limits. So grab your coffee or your tea, get cozy, and let's dive in. Because this journey, we're walking it together with our whole hearts. Hello, Alissa.
Hi.
Thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Yes, you have been on my list to interview, honestly, since the passing of my niece because of the way I got to meet you. I didn't really meet you until then, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we interacted a ton because we're like neighboring businesses and all the things.
I might have done a consult with you.
Yeah.
But that was kind of it. So I didn't really know you. And the way you stepped up for my family, was so huge. And I'm like, I just love that girl. I want to be friends with her.
We need to be friends.
Yes. So thank you for being on here. So I want to go way back when. So let's go back to those early years of little Alissa, because that's often where the roots of people-pleasing and perfectionism get planted. You kind of mentioned to me that that's something that you've struggled with. So growing up as the only girl among all those boys, did you feel like you had to hold it all together or perform in a certain way to make people proud?
So I have a brother, all boy cousins on both sides. Like I was the token niece, the token granddaughter, which I don't say it ever, like I ever knowingly knew that it gave me pressure, but I think being like the older sibling, being smack dab in the middle of all the cousins, everything like that, I think I just had this sense of like, everyone's eyes are on me.
Yes.
Whether or not I realize, like hindsight's always 20/20. But I think I always had that viewpoint of like, everyone's eyes are on me. I need to make sure, you know, my mom's a teacher. I got to get good grades. Like, you know, I need to perform well because everyone wants to go watch their sports and all the things. So I should do that too. Like all the things.
Yeah.
And so I think there probably was. I just didn't realize it.
And are you the youngest?
I am my brother's younger than me, and then I have two younger cousins, and then I have older cousins above me.
So you're the firstborn, though?
Yeah, I'm the firstborn.
Yeah, it's totally firstborn.
So yeah, the type A, firstborn.
That's my oldest daughter. Like,
Yeah.
people pleaser, always wants to be perfect. I'm like, honey, she's like, Mom, my grade is down to a B-. I'm like, who cares? I'm glad you're not failing. Like, I'm the mom that's like so chill about that, but she puts the pressure on herself. Or I'm like, where does this come from?
Yeah, unspoken pressure.
It's unspoken.
Yeah.
So you don't really feel like it was put on you. You feel like you just kind of adopted it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was get good grades. There was, do your best. There were all of those things that you're taught and told, but there was never like, I didn't like get punished if I got a B or something like that. So it was kind of like somehow the dialogue in my brain was that to begin with.
That's so interesting because I've honestly been talking to my oldest daughter about it. I'm like, why do you put so much pressure on yourself? She's like, I just want to be perfect. I'm like, oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know where that came from because I really didn't even like have a perfect vision of what it was.
I think it's birth order partly. I don't know what it is.
It's funny how that works.
It's
how God creates us that way.
It is so because people talk about birth order, and then I look at my kids and their birth order, and I'm like, there's my oldest who's a perfectionist and wants everyone happy. Then there's my middle who is goofy, silly, funny, like the life of the party, but also the poor me.
Okay.
Right? Nobody sees me, which I'm like, girlfriend. And then there's my little firecracker who's like, she will break every rule that there is. The littlest one who gets away with murder. Yes. Birth order is a real thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said you carried this disease to please, which I love the way you put that.
I don't know where I got that.
That's brilliant.
I'm sure I didn't make it up, but
I like it.
We'll go for
Disease
it.
to please.
Yeah.
From the time you were little, can you share a memory where you felt the weight of making others happy, even if it cost you something?
Okay, this is such a silly one. So I grew up from the time I've been skating since the time I could walk.
Like ice skating?
Ice skating.
Okay.
But my parents put me in dance, and I had been doing that from like age 3 all the way up into middle school, as that was like my only activity that I did, which was awesome. But I remember kind of in the upper elementary, middle school, we started transitioning. I was a competitive dancer.
Okay.
So we had classes. Sometimes it was like 5 to 7, and sometimes it'd be 7 to 9. And like as a 10-year-old, 8:30, you're getting a little sleepy.
Yeah. 9 o'clock is late.
Yeah. And I remember kind of right at the peak of kind of getting into that competition world or whatever, we'd have those late classes, and I would end up yawning a lot. And, I always tried to be, a really hard worker, because that's just like what I wanted to be. I wanted to do better. I wanted to get better. I wanted to do well. So I was coachable, as we would call it. But I would yawn a lot, apparently. And apparently that really frustrated my dance teachers.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's
and
so
I remember
strange.
my mom telling me that I needed to stop doing that.
You're like, how do you physically stop doing that?
Yeah. I mean, and as like a 10-year-old, you're mortified, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing something wrong, And then I remember then also like literally having a meeting where it was like me, my dance teacher, and my mom. And I literally am pretty sure like they gave me a reward if I like didn't do it.
It was like almost like a reward system.
Yeah. Like I remember getting like, it wasn't a Barbie, but like something.
Yeah, like if you don't yawn, what the heck is that?
And like
wild.
Like I don't even know why it was that big of a deal or why I remember that, but like that is like very traumatic for me.
I think
because
so
I was
too.
like, and I'm like trying not to yawn in like ballet, it's slow, quiet.
Right. How do you, but that's like your body's response to even like your brain needing oxygen.
Yeah. Or like I would yawn a lot at track meets because like I was taking deep breaths and doing all the
oxygen.
things. Yeah. And it was just like one of those weird things that like is hilarious now because I'm like yawning. Really? That's what I got in trouble for? Like I was such a rebel. But
funny.
Like,
it's funny to me that would annoy. That's just wild.
and I mean like obviously big yawns, like it wasn't like I was going like, oh, and like making all these noises.
To like disrupt everybody.
Yeah, I'm like just over here in the corner. But yeah, so I remember.
You naughty thing.
Yeah, I know.
Look at you.
Rebel. Oh my goodness. But like that was something where it was like.
Kind of pivotal.
Well, and almost, again, hindsight, I didn't have this insight as a 10-year-old, but like I am doing everything right and still wrong. Like I remember having that feeling a lot. And not for any particular reason. No. And I, like, my mom doesn't even remember doing that, like having that. And I'm like, I do. It was so traumatic, like we talked about it recently as a joke. But like,
it's like a childhood affirmation. It's something that you tell yourself repeatedly. So for me, mine was I'm never heard. That was my thing. Okay. I'm never heard.
Yeah.
And so to be heard, I felt like I had to be loud or just not say anything at all.
Yeah.
Because I'm never heard. And that was a repetitive childhood affirmation. Or nobody listens to me, I'm never heard. Another thing that was very toxic was because of my parents' relationship was I don't ever want to depend on a man.
Sure.
So that's another one. But those are all from childhood. Those affirmations that you make that actually go through your whole adulthood and make you who you are today, for good or bad.
Yeah. For sure.
So that is crazy that no matter what you do, even if you're doing good, you're wrong.
Yeah.
That was your affirmation.
Yeah. And not knowing it because, my heart posture as a kid was I wanted to work hard and do
be the best you could.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And be coachable. You know, like I wanted to be respectful and all the things.
Kind,
and so if that was disrespectful, I was like, oh,
I'm
no,
sorry. I can't help it.
Yeah.
That's wild. I have never heard of such a, I'm just
my mom does not even remember that.
I know.
Like,
she probably is like,
that happened?
Yeah,
really?
I don't remember that.
It was so traumatic.
Isn't that funny? You bring things up to your parents. They're like, I don't remember that. You're like, well, I do.
It was a terrible experience. But.
So did you ever feel like your achievements, grades, sports, being the good kid, were tied to how much love or attention you got? Or not really?
I don't think so, which is the interesting part.
It's a twist.
Yeah. As a kid, I knew my parents loved me. I mean, they came to every, you know, school concert, whatever. Like they were always involved in everything that we did. And like, I know that they worked very hard so that we could do all of our things we wanted to do. And I never doubted that.
Sure.
But for some reason, it never felt like I was doing quite enough to be loved, even though I knew I was. Like, it was this very weird thing.
It was the pressure. It was like your own self-doubt, your own pressure, your own self-worth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think that, I mean, I grew up Catholic, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but I grew up Catholic, and I think from a young age, they teach you, like, you need to do good. You need to do these good things.
You're rewarded.
Yep. And then you're rewarded. And then also, or at least that's how I took the teaching that they were teaching me. And then also, if you do bad, you have to go, like, confess, which was, again, another very traumatizing experience in my life.
Yes.
For no reason. Like, I was never a bad kid, but just, you know, I think those things all played a part in it because I was constantly hearing stuff like that. And that's how my brain associated
fear of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being scared to disappoint God, your parents. Yeah.
Even though I knew they loved me.
You're right. I know. Childhood is wild.
I know. Your little brain does so much more thinking than you realize.
It does. And then a lot of times, though, like, it affects you now as an adult. It's like, what the heck? Like, I was just living my best life then. But now I have all this stuff from when I was 10 that I have to work through.
Yeah, it's like all tangled up in there somewhere.
And then especially being a newlywed now, too, it's like, there's going to be things that pop up and you're going to be like, oh, that's from when I was 12. I should probably go to therapy.
Super excited.
That's so funny. So were there moments where you felt unseen even while you were performing well on the outside?
I can't pick one. I know that was true. Like, even I kind of talked about how I started out in dance. Starting upper elementary into middle school, I was like, I was kind of a tomboy. Yeah. Being in dance, I was kind of a tomboy. I was around boys all the time. Like, the first friend I made in school was a boy.
Yeah.
All the things. And I remember telling my mom that I wanted to stop dancing and play hockey. And at first, she didn't really take me seriously.
Yeah.
Also, I've been skating my entire life, so it wasn't like the weirdest request, probably.
Right.
But I started to kind of change, and I wanted to do hockey. I wanted to start soccer. Like, all these sports that I was never in, I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to be a jock.
Yeah.
And make that transition. And I think part of the reason initially that I wanted to is because everyone wanted to go watch the boys play hockey.
Oh, yeah. But everybody wants to go to a dance recital.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Or like a dance competition, like a full day of just having to sit there and wait for your kid to do it one time. Like, don't get me wrong. I love it. All the things, but like, that's a long day. So I don't blame them.
But parents.
I think part of the reason I even chose to do that was because, like, then I'll be seen.
Yeah, like they'll be excited to come watch. Not that they ever made you probably feel otherwise, but it's just your own. You were a very deep thinker as a young child.
I guess.
Yeah, overanalyzed.
Yeah. For sure. And so that's one thing I think that I could say yes. So probably. But
if little Alissa could have spoken up honestly at the dinner table, what would she have wanted the adults around her to really hear? Pause for a second, because not all hair salons are created equal. At Hustle and Heart, we're all about clean beauty, no harsh chemicals, no toxic color. Just intentional products, sustainable practices, and hair that actually feels like you. Whether it's extensions, color, or real solutions for hair loss, it's never just an appointment here. It's an experience. Come feel the difference at Hustle and Heart Salon, where your beauty routine gets the upgrade it deserves. Learn more at hustleandheartsalon.com. It's a tricky question.
It is, because, I mean, hindsight's 2020. I never felt that way knowingly as a kid. I think maybe I would probably just ask, like, do you love me? Like, I don't think I ever asked that question because I never doubted it.
Yeah.
But I think I might.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, for me, it would be, do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I have a lot of great things I want to say.
Uh-huh.
Just hear me out.
Yeah. And I think being the girl, sometimes, you know, it was like, oh, she's kind of ditzy or oh, this. And it's like, but I'm actually smart.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain family members or whatever, I'm actually smart. You're just not listening.
No.
Or, you know, do you still love me even if I was? Or whatever, you know? So it's some of those things that now I'm like,
I get that. I was the only girl as well.
Okay.
So I get you.
Yeah.
So I had a brother, only one brother. He's older than me. And then I had a cousin, or I have a cousin. He's also older than me. I was the baby and the only girl.
Yeah.
And so I felt there was a lot of attention on me.
Yeah.
Because I was the only girl.
Yeah.
And they got to do the fun girl things. Like my aunt, you know, I was kind of like like she's basically like my second mom.
Yeah.
And so I loved it though.
Yeah.
I loved the attention. I loved it. But I will say it does bring a level of pressure.
Yeah.
And perfectionism, and you want to do good and you want to perform and you want. So I totally understand
Well,
that.
and if you're the youngest wanting to be heard because you've got these boys doing their thing. Yeah. 100%.
And because I did feel, because not that they ever intentionally made me feel that way, but it is like that whole, you're stupid. You're just a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm
without, you know, actually saying that, like I would say something out loud like, oh my gosh, I did not realize till recently that such and such. This even still happens to me. And they laugh at me like I don't have a brain.
I know. And I do think that that's partly a brother's job.
Yeah.
I do think. Not that it's right, but I will say my brother still will poke me to the point where I'm like, ugh.
We are 30 or whatever.
Yeah, I am 40 years old. You are 42. Yes, he just loves to get me riled up. So I get that. I feel like that part of that too has created me to like want to be heard more.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's fast forward to college. So you did a lot of different sports. So did you end up doing hockey?
I did play hockey.
Wow.
All the way until my senior year. I had some concussion issues.
Oh, no.
So I went back to dance actually as a senior, which was a wild experience doing the flip.
Flip-flopping.
Yeah. I played soccer for fun. I started running.
Okay.
Doing that type of stuff.
So did you run in high school? You did run in high school. Okay.
High school.
So fast forward to college, you were running track. And trying to prove yourself, and that weight of people-pleasing just keeps getting heavier. So when you first stepped onto the team, what did imposter syndrome really sound like in your head? Because you mentioned to me that you didn't feel like you belonged.
Yes. I feel that coming out of high school, I was the coachable kid, so I called myself the utility player. Like I was pretty much down to run whatever they would tell me. And as a senior at Denfeld, I was one of the only senior girls. And so I kind of played the mother duck role. Like I always had these little ducklings running behind me, following me around, which I wouldn't have traded. And I loved that. And it was super fun. It's probably where I kind of got my coaching bug because I loved, being able to be the mentor, whether I realized it at the time or not. But because I never really got to focus on any one event, I wasn't necessarily
the best.
Yes. Like I was the best at high jump. I could jump my height for no reason. Like I don't know why. And that's why I was recruited.
Sure.
But I was recruited to also run.
Okay.
And my times as a sprinter were, I am not exaggerating, 10 seconds slower than what the kids were running on the team at the college. And I thought, I literally just have to figure this out. Yeah. Figure this out or I'm going to look so dumb.
Right. Like the pressure is on.
Yeah. But I think hearing that I'm and or just being this coachable athlete and always being down to, do what I'm told to a fault in a weird way sometimes too. As far as training and stuff went, that kind of collided with the pressure of trying to keep up. And I did it. I mean, I was able to do it pretty easily. I think I just was training the right way and focusing on certain things, and that,
it all clicked and happened.
Developed, what I already had innate in me. But I think that going in and thinking, holy crap, I'm going to look so dumb if I don't figure this out.
You just felt like an imposter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you pushed through stress, injuries. What did it cost you to keep showing up like nothing was wrong? And not only that, but I want to talk about the teammates. How was the culture of the team?
When you come in to a sport, I feel like it probably happens in a lot of sports, but especially a sport like track. This happens at high school, happens at college. You come in, there's all these recruits or all these new freshmen coming in, and then it's not like the most fun. Like running is not the most fun. I know you kind of just started running. It's not like, yay, I'm super excited.
I was actually in track in high school too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But it's not like, yay, we're excited. Like that's what other sports use as like their conditioning. So, I think it's one of the easier sports for people to just say, it's not for me. I don't want to continue to do this.
Right.
And so I ended up being one of the only freshmen, again, that stuck with it that year.
Oh, okay.
I was a very easy.
You were the only freshman in the college track team.
Ended up being that way. Most of the freshman girls kind of fell by the wayside
because they're like,
as
this
we went.
Sucks.
Yeah,
I don't want to do this.
It did. It was terrible. But especially when you're trying to figure out college and do I want to keep doing this? Do I want to be more social? Like it's a time commitment.
Yeah.
And just figuring out who you are. But I think because we had a small recruitment class to begin with, and then I was one of the only ones that stayed with it, it made me a very easy target for these older girls as I was starting to improve and catch up, quote unquote. And I just was naturally working hard because I wanted to.
Because that's your personality.
Yeah. I think that made me a target for them to feel, I don't want to say jealous, but maybe because I'm the new one. I'm getting more attention because I'm improving. I'm taking spots.
Did they feel like you were like a suck up or something?
Maybe.
Okay.
Or just I was taking their spot.
Overachiever. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and that didn't land well with some of the older girls that were thankfully seniors at the time. And so then not only did that just happen kind of behind my back at practice, it also was at my character.
Oh, yeah.
Which... being a new person on campus or whatever, small school, all the things, like that's terrible because,
that's awful.
I was holding myself to a high standard. We talk about people pleasing, like, and I do want to be known as kind. Like I do want to be known as respectful and hardworking and all the things. And so when that's being attacked, that's worse.
Yeah, that's
like
way
I can
worse.
handle the bullying with sport,
For
whatever,
sure.
but that was worse.
Yeah, that's awful. Okay, so you had injuries as well. What did it cost you to keep showing up like nothing was wrong? Because you kept going back.
Yeah.
For you completed your whole freshman year.
Yep, completed my whole freshman year. I ended up with a stress fracture in my leg that I had been building for a long time. I was just trying super hard to make sure I was staying on top of it so I could keep up.
Sure.
My freshman year. And so I was training hard and overtraining. And just, also just the transition to running indoor and outdoor track is a lot more than what I was used to. So just, a perfect culmination of stress on my body. And that I ended up having to just sit. Like I couldn't even run most of my outdoor season because I had gotten injured through the indoor season. And it wasn't, my performance really didn't suffer.
Sure.
So that was the problem. It was like I continued to do better. It wasn't that I was hurt.
And then you had to start all over again.
Yep. It was that I was hurting, but I was still doing good.
Yeah.
And so that made it hard for my brain and or, me to be humble enough to be like, hi, there's a problem. Until it was at the point where I had to take 4 to 5 weeks in a walking boot.
Yeah.
But thankfully at the same time, right as I was like really kind of, I was really upset, unable to run, like kind of full force of the bullying, all the stuff. Right at the same time, I was in the perfect scenario where I had the best teammates that were continuously like, come to Athletes in Action, which was a athletes Bible study.
Oh, cool.
Come to AIA. And they're like bothering me, quote unquote, about it.
They were nagging you.
Yeah, which like, thank God.
Yes.
But I was put in that perfect scenario where thankfully they, kind of held me up.
Yeah.
And I started to understand who was a friend and who was maybe not, and all the things. I didn't have to please everybody in that sense.
It became clear on who you could trust. Okay, so you were sidelined. We just talked about that with your tibia, right? Tibia fracture.
Yep.
Did you feel relief that you could finally rest?
No.
No. I was kind of curious because I'm like, okay, because if it's so stressful, whatever. And then it's like I feel like some people would be like, okay, this is my time where I can really analyze if this is what I want to do.
Yeah. No, I had a hard time with that because I was still doing well, and I really did love it. Like, despite all the stress and everything, I really was starting to enjoy, going to practice and just all the camaraderie. Track and cross country are both so different where you're all doing the same type of workout. And so you're all training together and you're doing the exact same things. And so you get like a different bond.
Right.
Like trauma bonding. Maybe,
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But so, I literally couldn't run. And so I had FOMO kind of.
Yeah.
But I also do think that it was a good break just to like recalibrate whether I knew it or not.
Yeah.
And something that I needed.
Sure.
Despite me not liking it.
Gotcha. Did it hit your self-worth at all? Because I know with you being a people pleaser and always trying to be the best and having to sit that out, how did that hit your, honestly, it would be ego.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a humbler.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really did question like, okay, like what the heck? Now what? Like now what am I going to do? Now how am I going to
perform
or, keep these relationships or, make my coach happy or whatever it was.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you shared that your teammates invited you into the Bible study. How did it feel to be pursued for who you were, not just for how you performed? Because I feel like that's kind of monumental.
It was and really is pivotal on how I found a relationship with Jesus. Like I had faith. I always believed. I always understood certain aspects of religion, quote unquote, but I didn't understand the relationship aspect. And so I think that's very parallel. They treated me that way. And so I was very easily able to grasp like, Jesus loves me. And the other things I do aren't necessarily, on that same wavelength.
Right.
It's just what I do.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah.
I don't doingness.
I don't know that I would have gotten that so quickly.
Right.
Had that not been the way I was pursued to go in the first place.
That's beautiful. Okay. So there's this moment you've described when running stopped bringing joy and started feeling like a job. What did lacing up your shoes feel like in that season?
Oh, I would cry. I hated going. Like, I loved the sport. I loved being a part of it. Freshman year, I made it through track, ended up being able to run towards the tail end for fun. Sophomore year, I was actually put on cross country for the first time ever. And that was like, as like a mid-distance sprinter, running 3.75 miles was so, like, I'd just go stare at the wall because I'd be so mentally exhausted after that.
Yeah.
Whole different experience, but was super close with my teammates. Most of the cross country team was part of that Bible study.
Sure.
Everything like that.
So did you have a choice to switch or do they just switch you? How does that work? Because it's two separate
it's
sports.
Technically two separate sports. Coach had asked me even as a freshman if I wanted to do it. And I was like,
long distance? Heck no.
Bye. And then by the end of my freshman year, he was just like, we're going to give this a rip or whatever. Because it was also going to be used for more training for me.
Oh, okay.
Like kind of like a sneaky way to get more training under my belt, hopefully to stop injuries and stuff like that. Which I actually ended up being pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Which was also the problem.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, starting from freshman year all the way through, I was never not doing well. I was getting better and better and better and in better shape, like running wise in shape, not necessarily like physically in the mirror.
Yeah.
All the things. And I kept doing well, but the further I got into it and the more I was putting all my eggs in that basket and putting my identity into that, the more I hated it.
Yeah.
And the more I felt like I can't do enough. I can't do enough. And so I would get there and I did love it deep down, but I would like I'd have a meltdown before every practice. Before meets, I would be so nervous that I wasn't sure when the gun went off if I would be frozen or if I would go. I always ran. I always went. But it was that like pure anxiety feeling of like, I don't know if I can do this, which is terrible.
Cross country, like how long do you run? Like how far?
It was 6K, so about 3.75 miles for women.
Okay.
But quick.
But you're sprinting it.
Yeah, well, yeah, it feels like it. And it's like totally different than on a track. And I liked being able to do something different than on the track. I'd done track since 6th grade. But definitely a different mental game.
Yeah. Because I just started running again. So I grew up running. My dad he was an avid runner, so probably still is. Yeah. My brother too.
Yeah.
They're also like 6'4". Okay. Slender, tall. I short. And I had to keep up with them. So I was a really good runner as a kid because I was running next to my brother and my dad. Yeah. But then obviously kids, whatever, and I started running again. I'm just for fun. When you were doing cross country, what was your time?
Oh gosh.
Like minute per mile.
6 and some change per mile for 3 miles. We would do it by Ks. We would do like a lot of 1K repeats. And so I could get about 4 minutes per K.
That's insanity.
And 1,600.
That's like flying through the air.
Yeah. And I could never, I'm so glad I don't do that now. My God. Like I never want to have to do that.
See, I'm like, how do I get down to 10-minute miles?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
I love a little bop like that though.
But it doesn't feel like a little bop. It feels like I'm huffing and I feel like I'm cruising. And then I look and I'm like, what? 11 minutes?
I'm dying.
What?
Yeah. No, I
felt like I was doing an 8-minute mile.
But also, I mean, totally different topic, but I feel like sometimes people have that where as a young kid, they can do it. And then women's bodies are trying to kill you half the month. Yeah. So then you hit that and then it's hard to make that transition and do it differently.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so hard. Oh, yeah, no, that's fast.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't want to do it again though. So
you're like, no.
You won't see me competing in the Grandma's Marathon. No, thank you.
Do you not run at all anymore?
Sometimes. Okay. I have a love-hate relationship with it. Sure. I do it when I want to and I stop when I don't.
Good for you. That's actually beautiful. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Hey friend, real quick before we dive back in. If you've been nodding along, tearing up, or laughing with me in these episodes, can I ask you a little favor? Make sure you've subscribed to With My Whole Heart so you never miss an episode. And if you've got a second, leaving a review helps so much. It's like giving the podcast a little hug. And hey, if something hit home or you just want to share your story, come DM me on Instagram. I seriously love chatting with you and hearing what's on your heart. This space was built to be a soft landing and a strong launch pad. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, back to the episode. All right, so when your coach was upset and teammates drifted away, what did that abandonment stir up in you? Because you quit, right? And this would have been your sophomore year?
Senior year. I ran cross country.
All through college.
I didn't really start hating it till junior year.
Okay.
I just shouldn't say hating. I started to really struggle.
Okay.
My junior year mentally.
Sure.
And I ran all the way through senior year cross country. And then as we came back from winter break and really started doing the bulk of track, I was like, I can't. I literally got like physically sick after a workout. And I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Because I was just a wreck. I was just anxious all the time and whatever. And that wasn't worth it.
No.
And I knew that. Like God was like, no.
Yeah.
You need to be done. And it was hard because I wasn't doing bad.
Right.
You know? So I was in such good shape. I could easily jog a 6-minute mile on the track.
That's
just
crazy.
To put that into perspective, I guess, since we were just talking about it. Like I was doing really
good.
well and I was slated to do really well.
Yeah. And
so that made it harder because my brain and my fitness, I guess, were not in
alignment. No.
And so I finally went and I told them, like, I cannot do this anymore. And at first they said, do you need a break?
Right.
Which I didn't expect them to say.
Right. You were just expecting me like, okay, well.
Well, and not be happy about it, but just, as like a team captain, So
geez. Okay.
So, like as a leader on the team, like all the things is kind of probably came out of the blue for them, but said, I can't do this anymore. They asked if I needed a break. And I just remember feeling God saying like, no,
Done.
like you need to be done. And head coach was mad, like would not look at me.
Really?
Was mad. And I remember that being difficult because that's like
your worst fear.
Well, and just who you've been trying to please all this time.
Yeah.
Right? Like bottom line, that was one thing I wanted is for him to be happy with my performance.
Right.
And not that we ever had a bad relationship or anything like that. But yeah, I remember that being really difficult because he would not look at me and he was mad.
Yeah.
He's like, could not believe that this was happening. Right. And it wasn't like I was like number one on the team or whatever, just a grinder as a hard worker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that being difficult. And I remember teammates not really getting it. And just kind of all of a sudden that whole part, I invested so much into this thing and it was just like
gone.
Yeah. And that was really, really difficult and didn't necessarily, I think maybe I thought once I am done with this, I can take a little break and then my anxiety will be better. And that didn't necessarily happen because it flipped from performance anxiety to like, I'm alone. Who am I? Who am I? All these things.
I made everybody mad.
And I think on top of it, it was a good decision. And there were other a good change. And other good changes were happening amongst maybe some bad ones too. Like I was going to be graduating. I was going to be a big kid now. I'm not going to school anymore. Like all the things. And all of that at once, I think was really difficult because that I didn't get the relief I thought I would. It wasn't.
Sucks.
It wasn't necessarily an easy choice. But when I finally made that hard choice, I didn't get good
You thought it was going to be like a light switch and it was going to be like, all right, the anxiety's gone.
And God was telling me no. Like there were very clear signs that like, no.
Yes, you need to be done.
Yep. And then it was like, well,
but what God, but God, you're supposed to take this away now.
Like, what the heck, God? I thought I'd feel better.
Right.
So that was a very interesting season for me because it was continued anxiety just in a different way. Yeah.
So after college, all the things that gave you your identity, so running, structure, success, being the achiever, they were gone. That's a scary place to land when the applause stops and you're just left with yourself.
Yeah.
So you've said you looked in the mirror and you didn't recognize yourself. What did you actually see staring back at you in those moments?
I feel like when you are following Jesus, you walk a kind of this holy ground between the world and him. And I knew that I was like making that decision. I knew that like I had prayed about it for a long time and like tried not to. I very much tried to avoid quitting. Yeah. Because I'm not a quitter.
Right.
And different things like that. And I feel like I would look in the mirror and I was like, I know that was the right decision. I know that he loves me. It was like head knowledge. I know this, but I didn't feel that here in my heart. And those are very, very two different things. And so looking in the mirror is kind of like, now what? Being a performer and an achiever, now what do I do? But also not feeling peace about doing this, doing that, doing the other thing. And I'm not a good sit still person either.
No.
So it was very just like, what the heck now? And like, where do I go from here?
Right. And you were going to go to grad school after, but you dropped out just after a week of being in grad school.
Yep.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So did you feel, because I'm sure that stirred up a ton of emotions, especially with your people-pleasing and accomplishment-driven self. Did you feel weak or did some part of you know you were protecting yourself?
Kind of both.
Okay.
Like I said, that you're walking that middle ground, that holy ground. And I knew I didn't have peace about it. Because I was starting to realize I'm a multi-passionate person.
Yeah.
Like, I did not know my entire life I was going to go to school to be a teacher, for example.
Sure.
Not that that's what I went to school for. My mom did.
Okay.
Or, my friends did. They knew they wanted to do A, B, or C, and I didn't. I was like, I could do this, that, or that, and they'd all be fun.
Yeah.
And my major, exercise physiology, was kind of like a conglomerate of a lot of things I could have done, which is why I loved it.
Yeah.
But going to grad school, and I just remember thinking, I'm going to pay double my student debt in 2 semesters.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if I like this or I want to do this or I want to do that or I want to do the other thing, or what if I'm a mom and I don't use it at all or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you just spiral being the overthinker.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember having so much peace about dropping out.
Yeah.
But also feeling a lot of shame or guilt because everyone else was handling it fine.
Right.
And everyone else knew what they wanted to do and everyone else was moving on from college and I'm just like at a standstill.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that middle ground of, yes, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. I have very much peace about it. But
I still feel
I'm seeing all this other stuff in the world and going, hi, hello.
Yeah.
I'm stuck and
battle.
everyone's moving 100 miles an hour the other direction.
Yeah. Because failure feels heavy.
Yeah.
And it's not that you failed.
No.
Because you knew it was a choice, but that still creeps in.
Yeah. Well, and I felt like the unicorn because everyone else had a direction and I'm multi-passionate.
Yeah. You're like juggling all these, like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's a
SOS.
hard place to be in. Okay. So can you tell me about a specific day or moment that when the label failure, because you brought that word up, felt the loudest? So like, tell me about the lowest point in that season where you just were like, obviously, and you had peace about quitting, but that doesn't just it's not all sunshine and rainbows after that. Just like quitting track and quitting cross country. It's not like that was an easy decision. You knew in your spirit that it was what you needed to do, but it doesn't make it any easier having to like actually go through the motion of quitting and then the aftermath. Same thing with grad school. Like, you knew in your spirit that it wasn't right for you, but failure still crept in.
While you're talking, there's a phrase people use sometimes where they're like, I'm blowing up my life, or you're blowing up, she blew up her life or whatever. And I think the perception in some aspects like that, people thought that. Like I was just making willy-nilly decisions or whatever. And I wasn't. I was actually being very prayerful on my own.
Yeah. They didn't see the heart behind it.
No. And I think there was just like a constant battle of like, well, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? And people would ask that meaning well.
Because they just want to know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know.
But, that it was rooted in anxiety in here.
Yes.
And I think when you don't deal with anxiety, as I learned and as I can see hindsight, like I didn't deal with the anxiety with track right off the bat. That just transferred to something else. I dropped out of grad school and any anxiety I felt about that transferred to something else, namely just in general, just general anxiety at that point. And so I don't know that there was one specific time I can think of where like that was my lowest day, but I remember that season was just this constant battle to be at peace.
Yeah.
Because it's hard not to be distracted about the outside. And also like, okay, God, I made this decision. Can you like write it in the sky for me what I'm supposed to do now?
Right.
Because I don't know.
Right.
And I have Be Still tattooed on my ribs that I actually got my senior year of college.
Okay.
It's written in my grandma's handwriting and she was so mad I got it and whatever.
But I have sorry, Grams.
written there. And that was at the time a verse that really stuck out to me, like be still and know I am God, because I was seeing all the anxiety I had with running and school and all the things. And I knew that wasn't my identity. And he's like, be still and know who I am, because that's who you are. So I had gotten it for that. And it's since then morphed. But like I had this be still written on my side, literally daily. I could see it. And I was not good at being still. So it's like, now what? What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
What do you want
keep
me
moving,
to do?
Keep moving.
Yeah. And God's like,
well, and God's like, I'm not going to talk to you unless you're quiet.
Yeah, and I'm not good at that.
Right.
So I think it was like a whole conglomerate of like, the anxiety needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And that was the season that he wanted me to do that in.
Yeah, you were trying to run from it, and it was just following
Cover
you.
it up with something else.
Yes.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Like, okay, God, I know you don't want me to do this. I'm going to quit it. So that's going to make the anxiety go away. And it didn't.
Because I'm anxious. And I thought, I'm feeling so anxious and not at peace because this is not what you want me to be doing.
Right.
And I'm, amongst other things, like I knew I was putting my identity in those things. I was continuously seeing I'm putting my identity in these things. And that's why I have anxiety. And that's why you're calling me to lay it down. Give it back to you. Like open your hands.
Yeah.
Quit trying to hang onto the wheel all the time.
Yes.
And I knew that, but it was like, he wasn't just filling it with something else
right.
like I wanted to do.
You just wanted it fixed. You're like, all right, I'm ripping off the Band-Aid. It better be healed underneath.
Yeah. Thank God. No.
Nope. It's not the way it works. Okay, so how did comparison play into that season, seeing your peers move forward while you felt stuck? Because that's hard too. You're still. You don't have school. You don't have a job yet, right? You don't, you're just, and then the world keeps moving.
Yep. I had friends in serious relationships, getting married. In that season, I had friends doing the grad school thing or getting their first, like, quote unquote, big kid job.
Right.
And I'm here working a couple part-time jobs. I started coaching, doing stuff like that. And, God continuously trying to, like, hi, hello, like, spend time with me. And that was really difficult. And honestly, that season stretched for quite a bit of time. Like, things filled in slowly. Yeah. God would fill things in. But even like the marriage thing.
Yeah.
Like that was hard because I was so happy for all my friends and, praying with them and doing all the things as they began that next chapter. But like, hi, God. Or,
what about me?
Yeah. Or like trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. Like, can you just tell me?
Right.
What I want to be? Because I don't know.
Right.
It's a very weird season and way longer than maybe I even realized at points because God just slowly, like I spent time with him, whatever, here's something. Here's just like a little bit.
He gives you what you need. Refine it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. He's giving me what I need. And then, I steward that thing and then, here's another thing.
Yeah. Because it's so easy. Sometimes the lesson in that is like, well, God knows better than we do.
Yeah, 100%.
Obviously. But it's like, if he would have just filled that in with the next thing, that would have just become the next identity.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to get stripped from it all and then slowly.
Yeah. Well, and I think Jesus had a sense of humor. Like if you read any, of the Gospels, when he's like, oh, ye of little faith, I think of him going like, yeah, dum-dum.
Yeah, like let's put it in today's layman's terms. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
What else do you need me to tell you?
You're Delulu. So like I can say it's funny now, but truly at some of those points he's like, would you just trust me for the love of God?
Yes, just open your hands and let me do the rest.
Work with me, people,
right. So funny. So what did loneliness look like then? Were you withdrawing or surrounded but still unseen? So did you feel like in that season, did you really start to like try to find community or did you feel like you were just very like by yourself?
Both.
Okay.
I feel I had and still have the best friends. And I have all individual friends. Like I don't have a core group. I have like a core 5 that are all individual friends and all were in very different seasons than I.
Oh, okay.
So I definitely had community and I continued to try to find community in, like a Bible study or whatever, meeting different friends in my various like other jobs and things like that. But I also would use that to hide behind.
Sure.
I would stay out and hang out with them or I would, go over to their house versus sitting at home and spending time by myself and doing what I needed to do.
Yeah.
Not that I was doing anything inherently bad.
No.
Like I wasn't out like hooting and hollering all night long or whatever, but just...
You were distracted.
I would use that as a crutch and a distraction.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to sit by myself, which was part of the problem.
Yeah. Right.
So, I guess that would be my answer.
So when you sensed God was stripping things away, did it feel cruel at the time or did you sense he was trying to get your attention? I mean, hindsight, yes. You can see that he was trying to get your attention. But in the moment, did you feel like it was cruel?
It was kind of like, and that got, and that too.
And now what?
Yeah. And now what? And now what? And now what? And like, please no. Like please have someone be available to hang out tonight because I really don't want to sit by myself, God. And like, I didn't.
Yeah.
So then you're antsy, Yeah. So I had a really hard time with that, but I had a lot, like I never swayed away from him.
Sure.
Even in that, which I like, praise the Lord.
Which is incredible.
That was totally something internal, like Holy Spirit was keeping me hanging on because I don't know how I didn't. I never stopped believing in how good he was.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That is.
When I think about it now, like, holy crap. But
Yeah. That is crazy. So let's talk about one of the darkest chapters, the relationship you've described as verbally abusive and manipulative. So what first drew you into that relationship?
So I had all of my relationships that I've had, aside from maybe this one, I date to marry. You know, I always have, and I've always held good boundaries and all that type of stuff. And so most of my relationships were long and serious and all the things. And I had gotten out of one that was like pretty serious, talked about marriage, all the things, and then, you know, had time by myself and ended up with this person, this guy who he was very different than I as far as like cocky, arrogant, like just was the life of the party, I guess I'll say, right?
Very extroverted.
Yeah, and just very thought they were better than to a degree.
Big egos.
Yep. But I had seen this other side of this person, and I knew that side of them.
Yeah.
I'd seen that plenty, but I also saw this other side of this person that was super sweet, like loved working with kids, was kind, like loved their mom, like just all these other
stuff.
good things that I had seen. And that kind of is what drew me in the first place. And just them being that kind human.
Yeah.
You know, despite them being, I'll say a goofball, because I, you know, want to keep it PG.
Yeah.
But I saw two things, and I think my brain kind of like adjacent to people pleasing, like trying to see the best in other people, because I'm not perfect.
Right.
I know I'm a sinner. I know I need a savior. Like I'm not going to act better than or whatever. I think that unfortunately kind of hit a point where I got sucked into that good side and ignored the bad side.
Right.
Even if there wasn't red flags of this other stuff to begin with.
Yeah. So looking back, what were the red flags that you missed? Did you feel like you were, because a lot of times, and this may not be your story, but you see the good, right? And you're like, we can change the bad.
Yeah. I don't know that I necessarily thought I could change it, and maybe probably I did. I think part of it was that I think the good in you is who you are, and I think you're just being a clown for attention. Yeah. And I think I fully believe that, and I do think that that is still true to this day, but you make choices, right? You can make a choice to be this or that, and it's conscious. Yes. And so, you know, maybe it was like they'll change more for the good. Yeah. Or maybe I believe that they would. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Because also being a single bachelor, you're more prone to acting like a goofball.
Yeah, and growing up. He'll grow up. Yeah. With time, it'll get better.
Yep. And honestly, despite them being that way with certain groups of people, they were not that way with me initially. They were kind and sweet and all the things.
So you got a different version.
I got a different version, knowing that the other version did exist. Like I wasn't completely blind to that. Yeah. And then the red flags started happening, but at the point where I thought that I was the one that was
the wrong one,
or the damaged goods. Yeah. I was the one causing the issues.
What made it so easy to believe that you were the one in the wrong? Was it the manipulation?
Yeah. I mean,
the people pleasing.
I'm this way, my sweet husband. Like, I'm like, can you go get me a water? I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I don't want to be a burden. That whole thing. Yes. And so that did not help because I would say like, hey, I really don't even have exact, like I really don't super love how that situation was handled. Yeah. I think you were kind of rude, and I don't like it when you talk about people that way. Yeah. Well, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And it would somehow, then I would be the one end up apologizing.
Like, I'm so sorry I brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a very long period of time where I didn't realize that was happening. Or like, hey, I don't really like when you do that. Like you assume that I don't want you to go out and go golfing with your friends. I just wanted you to communicate with me. And I would try to explain that. And then it would be like, oh,
How
you're
dare
terrible.
you not ever let me go golfing? You want to control me. You want, yes. It's
And so
gaslighting. It's master manipulation.
Yeah. And I could not see that.
No.
Because I genuinely thought like, oh my gosh, like I just communicated it poorly. Like, I'm so sorry, because my prior relationship that I had spent time working on myself after the fact had terrible communication.
Right.
And so I think
on your end.
Both
ends.
Both ends.
Okay.
But I was constantly working on that.
Yes.
When I entered
so you
a new
knew
relationship.
that was a problem that you were working on. And so you bring that into this new relationship. So you just assume it's you.
Yep.
Oh, that's layered.
Yeah. And it's scary when you don't realize it.
No, that you're being manipulated.
Yeah.
It's actually disgusting.
Yeah. It's
and
terrible.
you look back and you're like, oh.
Like I would never have and not to say that people didn't tell me.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Did people like say, Alissa, what are you doing with this person? Like, your parents, like,
kind of
siblings.
I mean,
like,
it was definitely someone different than me. Like, just like I said, way more like cocky and arrogant, and like definitely a different personality than maybe I had dated prior. Not that I had a type.
Yeah,
but very different. And I think people would say like, oh, hey, you know, like, what do you like about, like, I think there were things that they were trying to
gently
see.
trying to have conversations.
Yep. And then as it went on, even like I had one friend, shout out to Michaela, who would like be mad at me in a good way.
Like, what are you doing?
Yes. Like she's like, that is not how you deserve to be treated. And 100%, like, I would never let my kid or my friend or whatever go through that.
Yeah.
Even before I was in a relationship like that.
Yeah.
But somehow it was on, I was the one being
see
bad.
It. Yeah. And you're brainwashed. You know what I mean? Like that is one of those things where you don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you don't really believe it when people are saying it to you either.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like, well, what's wrong with you? Like, I'm fine.
Yeah. And then like,
and then you feel like you can't talk to them about the things because you don't want them to hold him accountable or to throw it back in your face. Oh, that's.
Well, and yeah, you isolate or like one thing, I had very strict boundaries for like physical parts of relationship.
Yep.
You know, being where my faith is at.
Yeah.
And he, of all things, that's what he respected.
Interesting. So that's hard because then you think like, oh, he's a good guy.
Well, he's respecting my boundaries, even though he's not necessarily.
Not all of them.
Well, yeah, he didn't like necessarily practice that prior to me.
Right.
He doesn't have the same belief for those physical boundaries.
No.
Yeah, but like.
But he respected it your end.
He really didn't pressure me at all in that area. And I think that also like there were things like that or like, oh, he is kind or oh, he does respect that boundary.
With your mind.
Because then I'm justifying.
Yeah.
That like, oh, they are a good person. I was just being a stinker or I caused the fight or whatever. And that made it really difficult.
Oh, that's so hard. So can you share a specific moment when you realized in this relationship that this isn't love, this is control? Like how did you get hit upside the head to realize like this is actually toxic and abusive?
Well, so all this time, like since I had like all the changes happen in college, you know, quitting track and all that, I had seen a counselor.
Okay.
And like had just worked on just generally anxiety in general. And so I was going to this counselor and without telling me like that's abusive, because it's not like I would have listened anyway. We would talk about these things. And I had come to my own conclusion that we needed to break up. Because he, I mean, literally even at points would be like, you're a mess, like you're really difficult because you're a mess and you don't know what you're doing with your life, and would like degrade my character and like you think you're all that and blah, 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 and like just whatever.
So he was saying the things he knew your insecurities were.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like was very obvious to the point where I was like, okay, like no, you're not going to talk to me that way. And no. And so I had broke it off.
And how long were you guys together?
A few months.
Okay.
And I had broke it off. And then I remember going to see my counselor, you know, a few times later and going, we're hanging out again and back together and I don't know how I got here.
Oh.
Because, oh, I'm really sorry and I'll never talk to you again and I don't know why you'd say that, and would affirm the good things about me that they degraded.
Yep.
That it was very confusing.
Yes.
And then you know, so we're like back, quote unquote, back together. We're talking again, all the things. And then he had gone away for like the holidays or something. And he had stayed longer than I expected. Not in a bad way, but I had just said like, oh, like I really miss you. Like I hope you come home soon. Like I'm just sad because I miss you. And I'm like,
yeah,
cute, whatever. And like genuinely, that's how I felt. I was like, oh, like I just miss
Bummer,
you.
I miss you.
Yeah, I want to hang out, whatever. And he lost it. Like he's like, that's terrible. You should not be making me feel guilty for staying with my family, and you need to, you know, you're never letting me do anything like that. And I thought, I have never been in a place where I have missed somebody, and I don't even like to say that out loud.
Yeah.
Like I don't like to admit that I feel like that vulnerable, like that homesick feeling for somebody. And then for you to be like, you're making me feel guilt.
To make it into like such a horrible thing when it was just like a sweet, innocent gesture.
And I remember like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. It's not what I meant. Like, blah, blah, blah. This is what I actually meant. And then getting off the phone and going, no.
Like you had the realization of like,
and
I was
like
just manipulated.
This, but I need, like, it was almost like my brain needed something to cling onto and be like, that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Because the more I would try to pull away, the more that, you know.
Yeah. They would suck you back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I literally, you know, that was the point. And when he got home, I went to his house and said, we need to be done. And like left, like ran out the door because I was like, gotta be done.
I'm done.
Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
No. I don't want, I'm not going to let you weasel your way back in.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, after leaving, what did rebuilding your sense of self look like? Rebuilding your sense of self.
Yeah.
Look like.
I mean, I think it was a lot of just, counseling, time with the Lord, all the things, but I think it was just realizing that I am smart. Like all the things that we talked about at the beginning where we were saying like they made me feel like I was dumb or they made me feel like without realizing it like I'm just the dumb girl or whatever. Right. Like I am smart.
Yeah.
I do make good decisions. I do have a good faith. I do have a good heart.
Yes.
It's not perfect.
No.
I think just like reaffirming those things and like just shaking that off, I was able to see that.
Yeah.
But it took some time and I took time to myself and was really okay with just being by myself and being in that bubble of like, and like continuing to say yes to things like this job at Superior Blooms or, you know, being involved at church or whatever the things were, like being okay with that.
For yourself.
Yep.
Not for anybody else.
Yep. Because I felt called to that and because like I knew that like my heart posture was good.
Yeah. So even in those messy chapters, your faith didn't completely go, right? So let's dig into that. You've said God was stripping away the things you clung to for identity. And at the time, did it feel like punishment or preparation for something new?
Probably at the time punishment.
Yeah.
But I knew, you know, it says God works all things for the good of those who love him, which can be used in a bad light, I think, too. I think people get that verse confused. Yeah. For those who are called to his purpose, right? If we believe and trust in him, even if we make a mistake, he can use that for good. And so I think knowing that he loved me, knowing that he had a plan and a purpose for me, I knew that there was something, but in that middle ground of where is it?
Yeah.
I think it was difficult. And I think that you so easily can be like, oh, I screwed up way too bad this time, or he isn't good because he's just taking this stuff away, you know, like throwing a tantrum like a little teenager, you know, whatever. And so there was a lot of wrestling with that, not necessarily going on either side of those spectrums, but just like, okay, help.
Yeah.
Help.
Right. So when you first heard the words "be still," how did you receive them then, which you kind of already talked about, but how does it land with you now?
It's an ever evolve. Like I don't think I'm ever going to be rid of my people pleasing completely. I think that's just something that
part of your
and
makeup.
Satan's just going to use it. Like he wants to try to derail you any way he can.
Yeah.
So any little thing, like there's still a little twinge when it's like, I have to say no or something.
Well, and I think that with the people pleasing, there's beauty in it. It's okay. So like there's compassion, right? And I feel like if you were to take people pleasing, like that like that makes it seem kind of negative, but actually it's a beautiful thing to have.
Well, it's innate in us to love other people.
Yes.
Right? Like that's the point, but it also can be pulled so far along.
Yes.
Again, that fine line between world and Jesus,
it's
right?
like healthy and unhealthy versions of because compassion can be not healthy too. If you go so far to the point where you're like ignoring everybody else in your your family, yourself to try to help. Do you know what I mean? Like it can be good or bad.
Yeah, just like being in that relationship, right? Same thing.
For sure.
But I think with that and other things, I had to learn how to differentiate the voice.
Yeah. So be still now.
Yeah. Looks
different than it did then.
And I'm constantly, like, haha, it's written on my side. But I'm constantly still learning it. Like, I think kind of like people pleasing can be positive or negative. I think, hard work can be positive or negative. I think like we can, it can be more on like the burning yourself out end, which I've been on, or it can be the just like working hard and doing your best end, which I've also been on. Taking time off, like all those things I'm still learning what be still means just in my various seasons. And that, anytime you read God's word, it'll hit you differently based on where you're at. That's
depending
the point.
On the season of life that you're in.
He transforms with where you're at because he's your compass.
And that's, it's living, breathing word. It's
So I think then it was like, okay, Alyssa, literally sit still so I can talk to you.
Yes.
And I'm like, just
it was very literal.
Yeah. Like jumping
when you got
around.
it tattooed on your side.
Yeah. And now it's a little bit more like, do your best and keep your hands open. Like the outcome might not be what you think, but God's hands are in it, or he's in control of it anyway, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Be still and know that I am God. Like that second half is important.
Yeah. Okay. Where have you seen God's faithfulness show up most clearly in the places you once felt broken?
Being a coach.
Yeah.
I think about, a good chunk of my story and building my relationship with Jesus came from a sports ministry, right? So sport was definitely a big part of my life. Being able to coach and being able to, like that teaching aspect, teaching kids how to do things, watching them grow, watching them learn hard work and learn other things, and being able to share my story in that, like, hey, by the way, you're not actually supposed to feel this anxious because it's your identity. That's not who you are. Being able to share those things.
Yeah.
Also has taught myself that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And that's been a really cool experience to be able to put that out there and like just share it in the midst of all the things these kids are going through. Like just very happenstance, like the mom of the group, but
so it's healing you throughout that process as well.
It has. Yeah, for sure. And that's been one really cool thing that's come from it.
Yeah. Was there a moment when you thought, oh, he's been here the whole time?
Every day.
Right?
Yeah, literally every day. I mean, even in those points where it was like, I can't even hear his voice because I was in that bad relationship where everything was being taken away. I'm like, I don't know, like he was talking.
Yep.
Hindsight's 2020. But you have to be in tune with it too. You have to
quiet, you have to be still.
Yep. And you have to be in that space where he, kind of open-handed.
Right.
I do this all the time, like open-handed, like, okay, like what is it?
Yeah, you have to listen.
And he doesn't want us to be doing all the time.
No. We're supposed to be, then do. Yeah. Okay, so much of who you are now shows up in the work you do, first as a coach, now as a florist and team leader. So coaching gave you the chance to speak into the young athletes' lives. What conversation from that time will you never forget?
Oh, man, I feel like they taught me way more than I could ever have taught them, which is cool. There was one, it was actually from my senior year of college. So I quit and moved on and started coaching. And that slowly started to like heal little Alissa in a weird way because I was able to, you know, share my story. But I remember someone that was a freshman my senior year, reaching out to me because, I mean, I guess I had my coach's heart way back then. I would try to put a Bible verse and like a normal quote, like sports quote, on the wall in the locker room.
Yeah.
Every week. And I would just leave that up there for everybody. And I constantly was saying, like, trying to share the things that I was trying to learn myself.
Right.
And I remember someone reaching out to me when she became a senior and said, like, hey, I see what you were trying to do. I see where your identity is supposed to be.
Right.
And at the time, like, my ears didn't want to hear it. And I've had a lot of athletes say that, like, I love what I do because I know where my heart posture should be with it.
Yeah.
And I'm able to do this without anxiety now because...
How cool.
And it has nothing to do with me. I mean,
No,
totally
but
God throughout the
used
story.
you. He used you.
Yeah. And like, praise God that they can have that experience.
Yeah. How cool is that? Okay, so floral design. It feels so different than anything you had done prior to this. Yet it became a place of healing and joy. So how did flowers become part of your redemption story?
So the whole time I was going through that, like, we'll call it turmoil of what am I going to be when I grow up, I'd always joked, like, I'm just going to open a flower shop. Like, literally as a joke.
I mean, it'd be the best thing
ever. Yeah,
so
that's so joyful. Why would I want to do anything else? And also I had really fond memories of my grandma being a florist growing up.
Sure.
So finally someone was like, Alissa, why don't you just do that as your side job? Because at the time I was going to transition to be a college coach. So I needed a side job. And they were like, why don't you just do that? It's like, oh, that's smart. Of course.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the people in this world do not know me as the athlete. And the people in the athlete world are like, wait, what do you do?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Because it's so opposite.
Yeah, but I'm a multi-passionate girly, man. Yes. I don't know.
Like I'm a tomboy and I like flowers.
Yeah, I like both. Girl can have both. But that giving myself the okay to take that step and do something like not an office job, something that maybe wasn't ever going to have the best salary or whatever, the best pay or consistency or whatever, being able to take that step and say, okay, God, like you put that on my heart for a reason.
What does that mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I did love doing it as a side job while I was coaching at the college level. But as I transitioned to the end of my season at St. Scholastica, I just didn't have peace about staying. I liked working with the younger kids. I liked the teaching aspect versus, kind of the bumpers on the bowling lane aspect of a college coach.
Yeah.
Just different. Which was fine, and I chose not to, but I had also reached out to Mariah and said, hey, I got a degree in exercise physiology. I coach. My grandma was a florist. I freelance weddings, but I have like 2 seconds of experience. I'm not a manager at all.
Right.
But I was super real with her. I was just like, all right, God, like I'm just tossing that out there. And he's faithful when you do that. Like he puts things on your heart for a reason. I don't know if you ever felt that way about what you do now, but it's like, that was on my heart for a reason, but I just thought it was some dumb, like
silly little thing.
Well, and I'd spent so much time hiding from like things to try not to be anxious. It's like, that must just be like my coping mechanism because I don't know what I want to be when I grow up too. So it's kind of funny how it all circled back.
Yes, that is super. I love how God does that.
I know.
He's got a good sense of humor. Okay, so you prayed for God to bring like-minded believers into your career. How has he answered that prayer?
I had spent a lot of time, you're in that cushion, whether it's in athletics or in a college Bible ministry or something, where you're in this little cushion, kind of like I think you always hear at church, like when you go to church camp and you come back on fire and then, or like Sunday, you're like, yeah, God. And by Wednesday, you're like, who, who's that?
Yeah, by Friday, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you kind of have that little cushion. And then when you go outside that bubble, it was really hard, like I had plenty of opportunity to be able to be poured into and pour into others with my faith. But it's very different when you don't have that constant cushion. And so I got to this point, after, 7-8 years of being out of college. And I was like, okay, God, if I'm going to take this step, I know that I've been in so many positions where people don't have the same beliefs as me. Like, whether it's politically or, faith-based or whatever, like it's very, very difficult. It's like plowing concrete. Because like inevitably, like I want to be able to share that and talk about that and like infuse that in whatever I'm doing. And be able to pray and do all the things. And so I was like, okay, God, like I need you to like bring people in that sphere. Yeah. Because I have my friends, I have my family, whatever. I have church, but I need you to bring that into that sphere too, because I can't keep doing it. It's too hard. It's too hard. Help. Yeah. I can't be the only one. And he's been faithful, like the first 3 people that reached out for a job when I was kind of rebuilding the team. Like I didn't know it at the time, but they just so happened to be firmly rooted and grounded. Yeah. Which has been so great to have that in the studio. And just being able to, I can't necessarily always talk about my faith, but I'm in a position where I can like pray for people, and I'm going into these joyful days, and I can be like,
well, it's a holy like weddings.
Yes.
It's a Christian spiritual thing.
Whether or not they're practicing that.
Yeah. But the whole union is.
Yes.
And regardless if they believe that or not.
Being able to be in those spaces and just be prayerful, whether or not it's with people. Like I actually have been able to pray with a couple people, which has been super cool. Because I've gotten to know them.
Yeah, and such a beautiful ministry to even be able to like, so for me, one thing that I like to do is to pray over my chair.
Yeah, pray over the flowers.
Pray over the flowers, pray over that bouquet for their marriage to be fruitful and beautiful.
I mean, even when we were building the studio, whether or not anyone else knows it, I wrote Bible verses on a lot of the studs before we put up. Oh my gosh,
I love that so much. I have a friend who built a salon who did that.
Yeah, and it's there. And sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, like I'll see it if I'm like on the back side of the closet wall or something like that. No. But like I've tried to be really intentional in a space that maybe isn't. It's about, I feel like weddings have become such about the party and not about the union.
The actual ceremonial
and so
part of it.
Being able to be intentional and meet people, in various spaces, like even just like happenstance chatting with you, in like a really difficult season, but stuff like that. Like he's been so faithful to allow me to become close with people in this area of life.
And there's way more of us than we ever even knew.
Absolutely.
Like truly, I do feel like there's a shift. And I feel like more people are, it's been so crazy because even just doing this podcast and having different people on, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just so thankful that you're actually talking about your faith. I'm like, we can't be silenced.
No. And I'm feeling that increasingly as of lately, especially.
Yes.
We won't go there.
Yeah. But it's true.
Yeah, it's true. Like, and feeling convicted to do that and not, because I also feel like that's part of my personality is like, well, I don't want to come across rude or stir the pot because that's not my intention behind me saying something. But knowing that like God has his hand over it anyway. So if it doesn't land right, like.
As long as you're doing it out of love and kindness, that's all that matters.
Your heart posture.
Exactly.
For sure. It's not about me. Nope. It's not about what I believe or you're wrong or I'm right or whatever.
Right. And we're not doing it right if we're not saying, I have a relationship with the most amazing person, Spirit, God, Jesus Christ, and he can make your life so much easier. Like truly.
Well, and even just being able to say like, if someone like, hey, I have to reschedule my appointment because my roommate is having a crisis, whatever they say. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm praying everything's okay. Like even giving myself permission to start doing stuff like that.
Yes.
Knowing that it can be a door and an opening.
It doesn't have to be important. It doesn't have to be a pulpit.
No.
It doesn't have to be a preachy thing. No. And that's the thing where I think, I don't know, people have like this perception of like, that's what it is. And it's like, that's not what it is. It's like, it's just your daily living, like how you're living your life every day. Because I own a salon and not everybody, I would say none of them, everyone has their different beliefs.
Absolutely.
But it's my ministry. So it's like, I'm going to live my life and I want to radiate God's love. And that's all I can do. That's what we're called to do, is to love one another, share God's word, be kind. And I think that is enough.
And I think I personally have to put it into perspective of like, kind of like we talked about the two spectrums, like there's hustle, working hard, doing well and wanting to do good because that's your heart posture. And then there's hustle, like burning yourself out because you're trying to control everything.
Correct.
And you have to put it into both the people and your work specifically too. Because God doesn't call us to do that either. Because then we lose, then we don't have enough energy to do the other things.
No. And I feel like we've reached a time in this world where we can no longer separate the two. Like, I am who I am. I am a daughter of Jesus Christ. Like, this is my identity. This is who I am, and it's who I'm going to be. And I'm not going to like shut that part of me off anymore.
Well, and when we do that, we're not always able to hear. We're not always able to be filled up.
Nope.
Because we're kind of skirting around this idea as to not be polarizing, whether or not we're trying to be. Like, that's not our heart posture.
No, absolutely not. No, but no, that's beautiful. Okay, so now we're here, and you literally just got married. Like what?
Wild, weird.
A week and a half ago?
Yeah.
Almost 2 weeks?
Yeah, just a week ago Saturday.
A week? Yeah. Stepping into this brand new season of life while also continuing to grow in your career and your faith. That's such a big shift. I do think like marriage is such a beautiful union. And I do feel like it's so spiritual. How does it feel to say you're married?
Ugh, well, I keep saying like, oh, weird, because I prayed about it for so long.
Yes.
Like, truly, people can say like, oh, I've dreamed about this day since I was 5. Like, I never had like a magazine board or Pinterest board of my wedding by any means, but it was always something like in my heart I prayed for, and I prayed over this person, and I prayed for this person for a long time. And so to have that happen, like, I know a lot of prayers have been answered for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
About like prayers over myself and prayers I've prayed for other people. I've seen that happen, but that was a beautiful experience. And just all of some people can call it bad luck, some people can call it spiritual warfare, but all of the silly things that happened in the planning process that were really difficult and like trying to like steal our peace. Like, none of it was life-threatening. It was just peace-threatening.
Yeah.
But
just annoying.
Yeah, all of the things that had happened throughout, like, to get to that day and just to have a day to not feel literally any anxiety. And I didn't have any anxiety about the wedding at all.
That's
and like
incredible.
This person and whatever.
Isn't that crazy?
As an anxious person,
Yes.
I'm like, holy cow, like God's hand is on this. So I'm still in like la la land about it a little bit, but
I
just
love
like
it.
feeling, like thinking, oh my gosh, like God's peace is here is really special because I prayed about it for a long time.
Yeah, and he's your person. I love that. So how are you seeing God show up in your marriage already, even in the first week or two?
So many different ways, actually. But I think we get so numb sometimes to the love is patient, love is kind, like 1 Corinthians verse, 2 Corinthians. I don't even know. I don't even know what verse it is because it's just said all the time.
Yes.
At all sorts of things. But
it's not envy. Yes.
Yep. All of those things, seeing them tangibly, and then also having a mirror back like, oh, I should be more patient, kind or whatever, is a really funny experience to have. Because we've gone through a couple weeks of like change, stress, all the people, just us, like all the things. And so it's been really beautiful to see that. And also just like God created us to have this and have a team. Yeah. We're a team.
Yeah. A partnership. All right. So here's our final closing question. If you could leave the woman listening with one reminder about who they are in Christ, something you want to ring in their ears long after this episode ends, what would it be?
So saying it to myself so I can say it back, like I'm Alissa. I am a florist. I am a wife. Weird. I am a daughter. I was an athlete. Like all the things I am or I was is not your identity. It's things you do. It's things you're a part of. It's things you're choosing, but it is not who you are. Yeah. Who you are is what God says about you. You are loved. You're created for a purpose. He has big plans for you. He's going to use you, the good and the bad and the ugly, for good. Yeah. But it's not about what you do. Right. It's about who he is. Yes. And the reflection of him in you.
Right. Oh, that was beautiful. Alissa, thank you for sharing so honestly today. These aren't easy things to talk about, but your willingness to open up reminds us that we don't have to hide the messy parts. Friend, if you're listening and you're in a season of burnout, heartbreak, or questioning your worth, I hope you hear this clearly. You're not alone. God is with you. He is faithful in the stripping and in the filling. So maybe today your invitation is simple. Take a deep breath, sip your coffee, and remember, being still doesn't mean doing nothing. It means trusting that He's God and you are His. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I'll see you back here next week. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Your time is valuable, and I'm honored you spent it here. I hope something in this conversation met you right where you are. If it stirred something in your spirit or spoke to your heart, I'd truly love to hear about it. My DMs are always open. I love connecting with you. And as you go, just remember, you're not walking through this life alone. Until next time, stay grounded, keep showing up, and keep leaning into the purpose that's been placed on your heart. I'll be right here, cheering you on with my whole heart.